My beloved child, there is a reason your spirit felt drawn here today. Not by accident. Not by routine. Not because you simply had time to listen. You are here because something beneath the surface has been shifting, and your heart has already sensed it before your mind could explain it. Listen carefully. Someone has been asking about your home. About where you live. About your space. About the life you have built behind closed doors. And no, this is not random curiosity. There is a deeper reason behind the questions. Stay with me. Because before this message ends, you will understand why this matters more than you realize. Lately, have you noticed how certain people have been watching more closely than usual? How conversations seem strangely specific. How subtle questions keep appearing out of nowhere. How someone keeps trying to learn little details they were never concerned with before. That is not your imagination. Some people ask questions because they are curious. But others ask questions because they are trying to understand what your life looks like when they are not around. They want to know how you live. How peaceful your home is. Who surrounds you. What kind of environment welcomes you when the day is over. And here is the truth most people do not realize. People become deeply intrigued when they sense someone is building a life they secretly admire. Let that settle in. Because what is happening around you is not small. Someone has been trying to piece together the reality of your world. Not because of the walls of your house. Not because of the furniture. Not because of the neighborhood. But because your home represents something much deeper. It represents your peace. Your progress. Your private world. Your stability. And to the right person. The way you live says more about you than words ever could. Pause here. Because this may explain what has felt so unusual lately. Someone has not just been thinking about you casually. They have been wondering what it would feel like to be part of your world. To stand where you stand. To experience the warmth of the life you have created. To know what kind of person you become when no one else is watching. That is why the questions started. Quietly at first. Small things. Where do they live? What is their place like? Do they live alone? What kind of environment do they keep? Are they settled? Do they seem peaceful there? Questions like these do not come from surface-level interest. They come from someone trying to imagine themselves closer to you. And here is what you must understand. When someone starts asking about your home, they are no longer interested only in your public image. They are curious about your real life. About the version of you the world does not fully see. Because anyone can admire someone from a distance. But only serious curiosity asks about the place where your soul rests. Something is changing. Someone who once observed from afar is becoming more emotionally invested than they planned. And they may not even know how to explain it. Because the more they learn about you, the more they realize you are not ordinary. You are not surface level. You are not someone who simply passes through people's lives unnoticed. You leave an impression. A lingering one. The kind that makes people wonder about you after conversations end. The kind that causes your name to appear in rooms you never entered. The kind that makes people ask questions when you are not around. And what they are discovering about you is making their curiosity grow. Because the truth is, your peace is attractive. Your energy is attractive. The way you carry quiet stability is attractive. The way you build your life with intention is attractive. And someone has begun realizing you may be everything they did not expect to find. But wait. This goes even deeper. Because they are not just wondering what your home looks like. They are wondering what kind of future exists inside your world. Read that again in your spirit. Sometimes when people ask about where you live, what they are truly asking is, what kind of life would it be to be close to them? What kind of future are they building? What would it feel like to be welcomed into their world? And if you have felt unusual spiritual tension lately, if your intuition has whispered that something unseen is unfolding, that is because a connection is forming behind the scenes before it fully enters your life. Do not dismiss the signs. Do not ignore the shift. Because some of the most important changes in life begin quietly, before they ever arrive loudly. Right now, someone is thinking more seriously about you than you know. More deeply than they admit. More intentionally than they planned. And the reason you needed this message today is because your season is changing. The walls around your life are no longer invisible to the people meant to notice you. The peace you built in private. The healing you fought for in silence. The life you carefully created after pain. It is being seen. It is being recognized. And it is drawing attention. Not from everyone. Only from the one who is beginning to understand your value. They are realizing something powerful. You are not just attractive from afar. You are the kind of person someone could imagine building a life with. And that realization has changed everything. So if strange questions have been circulating, if your name keeps surfacing unexpectedly, if someone seems more curious than before, know this. It is because your life carries a presence people can feel. And one particular person cannot stop wondering what it would be like to step inside the world you have built. But this is only the beginning. Because what they discovered while asking about your home made their feelings even stronger. And what happens next changes the entire direction of this connection. And what they discovered while asking about your home changed everything. Because the answers they heard were not ordinary. They did not hear that you simply have a place to live. They heard that your space carries peace. That your presence changes the atmosphere around you. That your life feels different from most people they know. And that shook them more than anyone realizes. Stay till the end. Because something huge is waiting for you. What began as curiosity has now become emotional attachment. The person asking about your home expected simple information. A location. A few details. Nothing more. But instead, they heard stories about your character. About your discipline. About your calm nature. About the way you carry yourself with quiet strength. about the way your life reflects maturity, peace, and purpose. And suddenly, they stopped asking just to know about your house. They started asking because they wanted to understand you. Do not skip this part, because this is where everything shifts. They are realizing that what you built around you reflects what is inside you. A person's home often reveals what their soul values. And when they heard about your environment, the order in your life, the energy in your space, the peace connected to your world, it confirmed something they had secretly been wondering for a long time. You may be far more special than I first thought. Let that sink in. Someone's respect for you is growing in silence. Their admiration is deepening behind closed doors. And the more they learn, the harder it becomes for them to ignore what they feel. Because many people can appear attractive at first glance, but very few continue becoming more valuable the more someone learns about them. You do. That is your difference. You are not a surface-level person. You become more impressive the deeper someone sees. More rare the more they understand. More unforgettable the more they discover. And now, someone has crossed the line from simple interest into genuine emotional investment. But here is what makes this powerful. They are trying not to show it. They are trying to remain composed. Trying to act normal. Trying to hide how deeply their thoughts about you have grown. Yet every quiet question they ask, every detail they gather, every subtle conversation where your name appears, reveals the truth. They are thinking ahead. Much further ahead than you realize. Because people do not investigate someone's world like this unless they are imagining possibilities. Real possibilities. Future possibilities. The kind that make a person ask themselves, could I fit into their life? Would they ever let me close? What would it feel like to stand beside them? Could I truly belong in their world? And right now, those questions are becoming louder in their heart. Don't skip. Because the next part matters deeply. There is something else you need to know. Not everyone asking about your home is doing so casually. Some are asking because they feel your life is elevating. And they know they may lose access to you if they wait too long. Yes. Part of this urgency comes from fear. Fear that someone else may reach you first. Fear that your life is moving upward. Fear that your standards are rising. Fear that your peace will make you impossible to approach later. They can feel you changing. They can sense your growth. And whether you realize it or not, your energy now communicates something powerful. You are no longer available for confusion, chaos, or inconsistency. That alone has made your value rise in their eyes. Because when someone sees peace in your life, they understand your standards must be high. When someone sees stability in your world, they know not everyone gets invited in. When someone sees the beauty of what you built, they understand access to you is a privilege. And now, someone is trying to decide whether they are brave enough to step forward. Stay till the end. Because something huge is waiting for you. The hesitation you have sensed. The strange energy around your name. The quiet increase in attention. It is all connected. A private conversation has become a private realization. Someone who asked about your home for information. Left with stronger feelings than they expected. They cannot stop picturing your life. They cannot stop imagining your world. And more than that, they cannot stop wondering if they could one day be part of it. That thought has followed them. Late at night. During quiet moments. In conversations they never admit to anyone else. Because somewhere deep inside, they know this is no longer casual. This is no longer passing curiosity. This has become something real. And the most surprising part? They are closer to making a move than you think. The questions were not the final step. They were preparation. Preparation before action. Preparation before confession. Preparation before a moment arrives that changes how they interact with you forever. So if the atmosphere around you has felt different, if your intuition keeps telling you someone is drawing nearer, trust that feeling. Because behind the scenes, a heart is building courage. A decision is forming. And very soon, what has been hidden in questions will turn into visible action. But when that moment comes, what they reveal may be bigger than even you expect. There comes a moment when hidden feelings can no longer remain hidden. And that moment is approaching faster than you think. Stay till the end. Because something huge is waiting for you. What began with quiet questions about your home? What started as subtle curiosity behind the scenes has now grown into something they can barely control. They thought gathering information would satisfy their curiosity. It did the opposite. The more they learned about your life, the more their feelings deepened. Is your world as beautiful and private as it appears in public? And what they discovered was more than enough to convince them. You exceeded the image they had in their mind. You became more impressive the deeper they looked. And that has created a dangerous problem for their emotions. Because now they know their feelings are not based on fantasy. Their feelings are based on reality. You are exactly who they hoped you were. Maybe even more. Don't skip. Because this is where the story changes forever. Someone is preparing to stop observing and start moving closer. Not eventually. Soon. Because there comes a point where admiration becomes unbearable when left unspoken. There comes a point where distance becomes frustrating. There comes a point where imagining possibilities is no longer enough. And they are approaching that point now. The signs are already building. More attention. More curiosity. More emotional tension in the air. More moments where something feels almost said, but not yet. That is because they are rehearsing it in their mind. Thinking through what to say. When to say it. How to approach you. How to reveal feelings without risking too much. Because make no mistake. They know you are not someone they can approach carelessly. They know your standards are high. They know your peace is protected. They know entering your world requires sincerity. And that awareness has made them careful. but not indifferent. Careful, yet increasingly determined. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the truth they have been trying to suppress is simple. They no longer want to admire your life from a distance. They want to be part of it. They do not just want to know where you live. They want to know if one day they could belong there emotionally. They do not just want access to your world. They want a place in it. And when they finally speak, when they finally stop hiding behind curiosity and subtle questions, the confession may be far deeper than you expect. Is your world as beautiful and private as it appears in public? And what they discovered was more than enough to convince them. You exceeded the image they had in their mind. You became more impressive the deeper they looked. And that has created a dangerous problem for their emotions. Because now they know their feelings are not based on fantasy. Their feelings are based on reality. You are exactly who they hoped you were. Maybe even more. Don't skip. Because this is where the story changes forever. Someone is preparing to stop observing and start moving closer. Not eventually. Soon. Because there comes a point where admiration becomes unbearable when left unspoken. There comes a point where distance becomes frustrating. There comes a point where imagining possibilities is no longer enough. And they are approaching that point now. The signs are already building. More attention. More curiosity. More emotional tension in the air. More moments where something feels almost said, but not yet. That is because they are rehearsing it in their mind. Thinking through what to say. When to say it. How to approach you. How to reveal feelings without risking too much. Because make no mistake. They know you are not someone they can approach carelessly. They know your standards are high. They know your peace is protected. They know entering your world requires sincerity. And that awareness has made them careful. But not indifferent. Careful. Yet increasingly determined. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the truth they have been trying to suppress is simple. They no longer want to admire your life from a distance. They want to be part of it. They do not just want to know where you live. They want to know if one day they could belong there emotionally. They do not just want access to your world. They want a place in it. And when they finally speak, when they finally stop hiding behind curiosity and subtle questions, the confession may be far deeper than you expect. Because this has grown into more than attraction. More than fascination. More than temporary interest. This has become emotional certainty. They have seen enough. Heard enough. Felt enough. And now, they know. They know you are not someone they want to lose the chance to know more deeply. So prepare yourself. Because the person who has been quietly asking about your home may soon be the same person standing before you, trying to explain why they cannot stop thinking about you. And when that moment happens, you will finally understand why all of this began. Because sometimes the smallest questions reveal the biggest feelings. And sometimes someone asking about your home is really someone asking themselves whether they belong in your future. The moment they have been trying to avoid is almost here. Stay till the end. Because something huge is waiting for you. For all this time, they have hidden behind questions. Behind curiosity. Behind subtle conversations. Behind pretending their interest was casual. But the truth has become too strong to keep buried. And now, the confession is beginning to form. Not all at once. Not in one dramatic instant. But through small signs first. A shift in how they speak to you. A deeper intensity in their attention. A softness in their voice that was not there before. A nervousness they cannot fully hide. These are not accidents. These are the cracks in the wall they built around their feelings. Do not skip this. Because when someone reaches this stage, it means they have already lost the internal battle. They have already tried to reason with themselves. Tried to stay detached. Tried to remain casual. Tried to convince themselves it was not that serious. But every attempt failed. Because the more they learned about you, the more impossible it became to ignore what they feel. And now they are facing a truth they cannot run from. You have become someone important to them. Not temporarily. Not casually. Truly. That is why their next move will feel different. It will carry more weight. More sincerity. More emotional honesty than anything before. Because they are no longer approaching you with uncertainty. They are approaching you with intention. Stay till the end. Because the next revelation changes everything. When they finally speak, it may not begin with some obvious confession. It may begin quietly. A deeper conversation than usual. A question with unusual meaning behind it. A vulnerable statement they normally would never say. A moment where they suddenly reveal how much attention they have truly paid to you. And in that moment, you will realize this was never random. They were never just curious. They were never asking about your home for meaningless reasons. They were learning your world because their heart was already moving toward it. Because when someone imagines a future with another person, they begin studying the life attached to that person. That is what they did with you. Every question. Every detail. Every quiet attempt to understand your world was part of a deeper emotional process. They were not gathering facts. They were building feelings. And now those feelings are becoming impossible to hide. Don't skip. Because here is the part few people see coming. They are afraid. Yes, even now. Afraid that when they reveal how deeply they feel, you may not realize how serious they truly are. Afraid you may think this is ordinary attraction. Afraid you may not understand that their interest in your home was never about the place itself. It was about what that place represented. Peace. Warmth. Stability. Belonging. A future they could picture themselves inside. And when they looked at your life, they saw something rare. A person who feels like home. That is what changed everything. Because some people attract attention. But only rare people make others feel peace just by existing. You are that rare. That is why this person could not stop asking. Could not stop thinking. Could not stop imagining. And very soon, they may stop hiding altogether. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the person who once quietly gathered information is becoming the person who wants to stand in front of you honestly. No masks. No pretending. No distance. Just truth. Truth about how long they have felt this. Truth about how serious their emotions have become. Truth about why your name has remained in their mind far longer than expected. And when that moment arrives, you will understand something powerful. The questions were never the story. They were only the beginning. The real story was the heart behind the questions. A heart trying to understand whether the life you built could one day include them. A heart slowly realizing that what they feel for you is not passing. A heart preparing to risk vulnerability for something real. So if the atmosphere around you feels charged lately, if someone's energy toward you feels heavier with meaning, if your intuition says a major emotional shift is near, trust it. Because behind the scenes, a confession is closer than ever. And the one who asked about your home may soon be the one asking for a place in your heart. What happens after that could change everything between you. And if it unfolds the way it appears to be unfolding now, this connection may never return to what it was before. Because once hidden feelings are spoken aloud, nothing stays the same after that.